Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff, and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide. Time zones are still a thing, and god damn it, I made it from the intro to me on the stage yet again. Things are looking good on the technology front. On that point, could I get a wee audio check in the chat and make sure people can hear me? And I'll say a couple of hellos because there's a couple of people in. First then, Mr. Budgie Burger with good evening. So we're covered for the fucking funny, witty, bassist comments on the internet. Captain Paka, White, what about you, chum? Welcome aboard. Please let this be another blood and guts. You're in the mood for blood and guts. To be totally honest with you, Budgie, I'm not 100% sure because I'm learning stuff tonight as well. It's great. So I'm not sure, but we shall see. Anglo-Saxon, evening, brother. Glad to have you here. Bass, over from Holland, all good. Audio good, 5x5. It's all working. It is all working. That is great. And with that, I will do a couple of shout-outs, as I always do. The first one is going to be Curry's a Secure, Australian girl called Robin. And she will keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of woke and governments and all the fucking tyranny that we currently live under. And doing a similar job out of America. So we've got both hemispheres covered, 2 continents, Rich, RPW Media. Really good shows, and he does indeed. Look up his website and you will find lots of information. Basically anything that's happening in politics in America, Rich will have the lowdown for it. Yeah. Field Marshal Don Browning is indeed in from down under. Welcome aboard. I'll come on to that in a second. Rich he's a very good lad. And hopefully he shall be back on this show in December. The end of the month show in December is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's going to be a Hogmanay show. We'll see how it goes. It's an effort. We'll see. At the moment, it's a thought. We'll see what we can turn it into. Ragnar Ironspear, in all probability, will be streaming tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, I believe. Generally speaking, I'm busy on a Friday evening, so I'm not sure what all's going on over there. Yeah. And the other shout out I'm going to give is for the one, the only, the Dave Waffle House, home of the world famous Friday night duck race, which indeed we have got evidence, proof, beyond all reasonable doubt that duck race is not rigged, because see, if it was rigged, Field Marshal Don Browning would have won. Nobody would complain if Don won. Everybody wants her to win. We want her to win, but it just hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it will soon. What I want to say about the Waffle House is basically it's the pub. It's a place that people with our sort of mindset that have these radical thoughts like a country should have defined borders, that women do not have penises, men do not have ovaries. You know, that those radical thoughts that we can go and relax and be ourselves without having to worry about politics all the time. Very important thing, and Dave Lawwell House provides that every weeknight from 8:30. 1 second, I need to cough already. Oh, and the other thing that you will get is Dawn Browning's absolutely hilarious comments about the duck race. It's all very, very good, and in the best possible taste. Now, another thing that I want to give a shout out to would be the wonderful Emma G. 1 second, let me get this up. I should have had this ready, but let me think. I am an absolute dick. One momento, sorry. This is what was I. Check these out. Percent. Normally he shows up by now. So he's put. Oh, Dave has to go and do. He has something going on this evening. He may be listening on the way back from driving duties at a concert. So I'm not sure. Right. Check these out. This is. Have to go on this. Yep, check these out. These are little boarbles that you can get for your pets, and you can put doggy treats in them. I'm pretty sure she would do a cat one and put cat treats in there. These are refillable, so you can use them again next year. They're absolutely gorgeous. If you want one of these for Christmas, follow the link. Oh, that's the wrong link. Hopefully, I will get this link into the chat, and you just can let me know does it work. Any of you still have Facebook, but here we go. Yes, there is the link going in, and that will take you to the wonderful Emma G's arts and crafts, handcrafted by Emma G. Everything is handmade. It is wonderful stuff. So get yourself onto that and give her some support. So we'll take that away. Was there anything else I needed to plug? Oh, yes, there was indeed. My other channel. Yes, indeed, people, I do have a new channel. 42's Auditorium, and on that channel I will be doing videos. Hence the name Auditorium. And hopefully, Captain Packet tells me it works. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Here is the link for the auditorium. The idea is that I want to do videos on that that'll be standalone. You'll just have the content and do the live stuff over here. To be honest with you, there she is, the wonderful, super sexy Emma G, who is just back from delivering the pizzas. I hope everything all went well, and Daniel is indeed enjoying his pizza. Now, so YouTube have decided that they do not like channels that both do videos and live streams. So it's actually given me a bit of a kick up the bum, plus the other stuff that I was doing for Movember and whatnot. I've decided to resurrect the old original channel. It's got the artwork from that my friend Luke made for me. I'll show you. I will indeed for your channel. We'll share this. Bum, 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 so you can see it. Check us out. Share screen. 42's auditorium. I don't think I can make it any larger, but if you can see this, if you can see this artwork, you've got the mechanics in the man, and it's got the right hand that is red, signifying the whole Ulsterman thing. It is really very, very cool. I'm very chuffed with it. So there's that. And Robin, Courage is Secure. Yes, sub to this lady's channel. She will keep you up to date with what's going on in the fucking crazy world that we live in, that is surrounded by tyrants and government. So there's that. Is that everything up to date? I believe it is. So with that, we are going to begin to get into the story of King Canute. Out of curiosity, in the chat, tell me where you think King Canute was the king of. I'm just curious, because until about 4 days ago, I would have got this one wrong too. Oh yes, surrender is not in our DNA. We did not fight this shit for this long to suddenly give up. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, stick in the chat where you think King Canute was the king of. I will say that I didn't really know this story. I'd heard little things about sending soldiers out to cucumbers. About him sending soldiers out to fight. Yeah, angles on it. I've heard stories about the king sending troops out to try to hold the tide back and sending the war with that, but I had no real idea of. Yeah, bosses on it. You both knew more about this than me. I actually thought he was a Roman emperor. I don't know why. It's one of the stories that I somewhat English. Well, you're all closer to me. It's one of these stories that I didn't really learn as a child properly, and then I picked up little bits and pieces here, there, and wherever, and it was what I sort of gleaned was very, very wrong. Which is one of the things why I love doing this show, because I am learning every week. So with that, let's get into this, and we shall begin with the Encyclopedia Britannica and their wisdom, and we will see what that provides for us. Because I will say that the level of wisdom in Encyclopedia Britannica has indeed been deteriorating. Right. Well, here we go. Canute the First died November 12th at 1035, which is why we're doing this in November. That's where it came onto my radar from. Was the Danish king of England from 1016 to 35, of Denmark, and was Canute from 1019 to 1035, of Norway 1028 to 35, who was a pawn in the politics of Europe in the 11th century, respected by both emperor and pope. Neither the place nor the date of his birth is known. Canute was a grandson of Polish ruler Mazeko I on his mother's side. As a youth, he accompanied his father, Swan I, Forkbeard, king of Denmark, on his invasion of England in 1013. Canute was left in charge of the fleet at Gainsborough, Lincolnshire, and it was probably then that he met Algaf, daughter of Ealdorman, chief officer. which is where our council aldermen now come from, of Northumbria, who had been murdered with King Athelred II's conveyance in 1006. She bore him two sons, Sweyn and Harold. Sweyn, the first Forkbeard, was accepted as King of England by the end of 2013, but died in February 2014. That was a very short reign. And the English invited Athelred to return. Right, so Athelred's got pushed out, and now he's going to come back. Canute and the men of Lindsley planned a combined expedition, but Canute deserted his allies at Easter and sailed to Denmark, putting his hostages savagely mutilated ashore at Sandwich. In 1015, he returned and began a long struggle with Athelred's son Edmund II, Ironside. Earl Ethelred of Northumbria submitted to Canute in 1016 and was murdered in his hall. After Athelred died in 1016, the English Reign Council elected Canute as King of Southampton. Do you know what? This is a problem with our history. Because see, before you've even got to the story about this guy, it has bored the fuck out of you with dates, names, people that nobody knows anything about without an actual story. And this is a large problem with why our history is being misunderstood and eroded, because of the way it's presented. 1 second, I'm going to check the chat. And Ether Elephant, evening, welcome aboard. Brad James is in. Thanks for dropping in, Brad. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for your lovely comment the other day. Arpow's in. Arpow will be on the end of the month stream next week. So everybody look forward to that. It's going to be great. All right. Okay, we're all good. Take that comment back down. After Ethelred died in 1016, the English Reign Council elected Canute King of Southampton. But these councillors who were in London with the citizens elected Edmund. Canute won a victory at Ashton in Essex on October the 18th, and the kingdom was then divided. But Edmund died on November 30th, and Canute succeeded to the whole. And at this point, England was just coming together. It was still, you had factions here, there, and everywhere. And although it was pretty well on its way to being solidified under Anglo-Saxons and part of it, but this is why we have a strange number of kings. Canute's first actions were ruthless. He gave Englishmen's estates to his Danish followers as rewards. Common practice. He engineered the death of Edmund's brother Edwig, and he had some prominent Englishmen killed or outlawed. Edmund's friendly cunt then. Edmund's infamous sons, however, eventually reached an asylum in Hungary. Already in 1016, Canute had given the earldom of Northumbria to the Norwegian Viking Eric of Helther, and in 1017 he put the renowned Viking chief Torkel the Tall over East Anglia. Now, what you need to also understand is, while these areas got Viking rulers and a Viking law, they did not transplant the population. So the native English were still living there, just under these conditions put in by foreign rulers. Yet Canute did not rule like a foreign conqueror for long. By 1018, Englishmen were holding earldoms in Wessex and Mercia. The Danish element in his entourage steadily decreased. Torquil was outlawed in 1021 and during the rest of the reign. Of his three most influential advisors, only one was a Dane. So this is what you find out whenever you come to rule a country. You need to get the indigenous people involved. Otherwise, it's not going to be manageable because you need people that can speak to them on your behalf and that they will actually listen to. Canute paid off most of his fleet in 1018, and the Danes and the English reached an agreement at Oxford. One authority adding, according to Eggers' law, a drift of the treaty survives, written in the style of Archbishop Wolfiston of York, who later drew up Canute's laws, mainly based on previous legislation. So he's took the laws that existed before him and just updated them a little bit to suit himself. It was likely it was Wolfenstein who aroused the young Canute ambition to emulate the best of his English predecessors, especially King Edgar. Canute proved to be an effective ruler who brought internal peace and prosperity to the land. It's very hard to get prosperity without peace. One of the reasons why Northern Ireland, and particularly Belfast and Londonderry, are so far behind economically is because we spent quite a lot of time blowing the shit out of the cities, and therefore commerce became more difficult. So anytime that you get a prolonged period of peace, prosperity will follow if it is genuine peace. He became a strong supporter and generous donor to the church, and his journey to Rome was inspired by religious as well as diplomatic motives. So he got brave and friendly with old Popey Dopey. He needed English support against external dangers. King Ethelred's sons were in Normandy, and Canute married his mother, Emma, in 1017 to prevent her brother, Duke Richard II, from espousing their cause. English forces helped to secure Canute's position in Scandinavia in 1019, when he went to Denmark to obtain the throne on his brother's death. Now, interestingly, I got asked a question the other day about when did I think the First World War was, and I had a bit of a head scratch. And it seems that all of the wars England have been involved in, right back as far as this, have quite a lot of elements of it that are outside of the country. You've got stuff going on in Normandy and Denmark and whatnot that's causing this. So it's really hard to judge when the First World War was. That is something I'm trying to meddle with in my head, but I'm not sure. In 1023, when the outlaw Torquil was causing trouble, and again in 1026, when his regent in Denmark, Ulf Jarl, the husband of his sister Estrid, joined the King of Norway and the King of Sweden in a coalition against Denmark. Though Canute was defeated at the Battle of the Holy River, Sweden terms were made. Scandinavian sources attribute Canute to the death of Ulf. Soon afterward, Canute fomented with bribes the unrest of Norwegian landowners against their king, Othel Henderson II, and was able to drive him out in 1028. He put Norway in charge of Håkon, son of Eric and Hather, and of Hather's death of his concubine Ethelgyn and their son Sned. Olaf attempted to return in 1030, but fell at Staffelguld. Ethelgyn in Sweden became unpopular and fled to Denmark in 1035 before Canute's death. In England, peace was broken only by Canute's expedition to Scotland in 1027, by which he secured recognition from the Scottish kings. English trade profited by Canute's control of the Baltic trade route. Only his pilgrimage to Rome timed for him to attend the coronation of the Holy Roman Emperor in 1027. He secured from the latter other princesses who met reductions in the tolls of English traders and pilgrims. Denmark benefited from his friendly relations with the emperor, who surrendered Swesgag in the territory of the Edel River when negotiations were begun for the marriage of the emperor's son Henry to Canute's daughter Gunhild. I am really beginning to get pissed off for the absence of the actual fucking story here, or any substance. Hopefully I'm going to be able to fix that and put videos on the other one that I have scripted and figured this the fuck out. But anyway, neither Cnut's illegitimate son Harold, who ruled England until 1040, nor his legitimate son Haberton, who had succeeded them to Denmark in 1035 and to England in 1040, inherited his qualities. The English reverted to their old royal line in 1042, and Denmark passed to Sweyn II, son of Earl of Ulf of Ethelstad. There we go. That's what Britannica is telling us about King Canute. And the Britannica is the source that we're supposed to go to. It's the encyclopedia of record. You're supposed to be able to go and read this and understand things about your about the history and everything. And to be totally honest with you, I am very disappointed with what we have actually learnt, other than a whole bunch of names and dates and the total absence of the story. But anyway, I digress, and I shall go back to StreamYard and check the how many sides does a hand Canute have? Oh fuck! Linda Hunter's in. Yep. 1066 Battle of Stamford Bridge. We finally defeated the Vikings under Harold. Yeah. And then we marched down south to be defeated by Norman Vikings. It's oh, we're about to get that, Mr. Arpa. I don't think he was. But I do think we're going to have a musical interlude. Because that's exactly how I'm feeling. And what shall we have? We're going to eat the bugs. I'm sorry about this, people. We're going to do this. We're going to eat the bugs.
Hello, this is 42.
Here we go. Yeah, brace.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy. And you will eat the bugs.
Oh shit, man. Eat the bugs? You got me wrong. You got me so wrong. You ever seen a cave drawing of somebody with a spear hunting a mosquito? Well, me either. We eat meat and we have choices. You cook the hedgehog right? It tastes like chicken. Fucking chicken. I ain't eating your bugs. I ain't eating your bugs. I started off with nothing and I'm never going back. I'm not getting on your progressive track. With Agenda 2030, I refuse to engage. I can see where it is going and it's just another cage. I got hedgehog, I I've got rabbit, I've got wild hog. Fuck it, I could even move to Alaska and get me a nice caribou. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. They're trying to take away what I fought so hard to get, so I'm going to say no to your cattle country. Eat the bugs, live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy. Own nothing and be happy. I've seen the people with nothing and they don't look happy. Eat the bugs, live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy. Own nothing and be happy. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh shit, man, you got me wrong. You got me so fucking wrong. There are millions of us in the UK, billions worldwide, unvaccinated, striding out into our third winter of death with not a care in the world. Eating pig, eating cow, eating chicken, and we will not conform. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. Hey, Klaus Schwab, this is 42, and I want the word with you. Motherfucker.
This is the fourth industrial revolution. We have a window of opportunity for the great reset. Technology is a critical weapon. History is truly at a turning point. We can shape a better world, and we will reglobalize to make it a better place. So they'll own nothing, and so will be and so will eat the bugs.
You haven't got me talking. Why are the United Nations in charge of Stonehenge? Keeping me away from the stones? That's not world heritage, that's British heritage. You're getting to the point where the people just want to be left alone and going to get involved. Tell me again, why is the United Nations running Stonehenge? Fuck it. Stonehenge, New Games, a fucking Penang mountain range, now owned by UNESCO, so you and I can never go. Fuck your 15-minute cities and your Internet of Things. We are going back to nature, see what that life brings. We had a good look at the bombing we did, so we hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We'll hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid.
You will own nothing, and so will eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. So we'll be happy.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance.
Fuck it. Oh, talking about Woody, I've heard a very lovely rumor that there is another bit of land that has been purchased. I am so very, very pleased about that. I'm not involved in the Woodlander initiative for very many reasons, not least that being that I don't live in England. So it wouldn't be that it wouldn't be suitable for myself, but I am really, really pleased with the way that's going and how it's going from strength to strength. Very pleased about that. Now, we are going to have a look at what uh, Historic UK has got to say about Canute. The first thing that I will say is check out that spelling. Because I was like, what the fuck? That's King Cnut The Great. And pretty much is, but the U and the N's in the wrong order, and me having dyslexia, I was like, holy fuck, they haven't called them that, have they? But what it is telling you, at the very least, is a man's had a fucking change of spelling after hundreds of years. So that's good. That shows you how well your history's going. The only thing I can say is that this is looking a little bit slow on the screen, so I'm going to zoom this in. And I'm going to see, did Historic UK, do they give us a better understanding of King Canute? Let's see. As ruler of England, Denmark, and Norway, King Cnut the Great consolidated his power to become a leader of the North Sea Empire, demonstrating his leadership skill and fortitude during reign. The fable about King Canute trying to command the tide of the sea, written 100 years after his death by Henry of Huntingdon, still remains entrenched in English folklore today. Interestingly, Britannica mentioned nothing about that, and already this is sounding something that you could probably get a better understanding of the story from and also remember it, which is very important. And here we've got a nice picture of him pointing at the sea saying, stop. Whilst the exact date of his birth is unknown, Cnut was the son of Svein Forfeit, the King of Denmark, and a Polish princess. Cnut was the product of a long line of Scandinavian leaders, as his father Svein Fernbrook was the son and heir to King Harold Bluetooth, who is the founder of modern telecommunications, where you can get things to connect without cables. Probably not. Canute's destiny to follow in his father's footsteps seemed inevitable, and he soon grew up to become an impressive Viking warrior, described as good-looking and possessing strong leadership skills. With Viking power growing from strength to strength, Thwin from Forkbeard began to look further afield to expand his power base. After setting his sights on England, he targeted the Saxon king Athelred the Unready. Imagine getting that for a name. With the support of his son, Canute successfully took the English throne. Having usurped the English king, Swinley's leadership was sadly to be short-lived, as he died on the 3rd February 1014, creating a power vacuum in which Athelred felt determined to fill when he returned from his exile in Normandy. Seems to be a lot of going back and forward to Normandy, by the way. Not. The K is silent in Danish. Oh yeah, history gets rewritten all the time. Yet it is an ongoing, never-ending process. In fact, what's quite one of the reasons why I'm putting the Britannica things on the internet and read fully is because, see, if you go and read the next, look up that same page in 2 years' time, you'll find it's different. It's fucking never ending. We also now have people doing degrees that are half sociology, half history, and those people are the people that are doing the rewriting. Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, the race swapping is at the higher end of it, but there's lots of there's hundreds of things in between that just get wingled in. It's it's really not good. This created a divided kingdom in England, with some factions supporting Athelred's return while others swore allegiance to the Count. On this occasion, Athelred was able to garner enough support from the higher echelons of Anglo-Saxon society and pledged on his return to rule more justly and forgive those who had submitted during the time of fighting domination. Yeah, so if you want to go and try and take your country back, you're going to need to make some form of a deal with the people who stayed there the whole time. Without further ado, Athelred launched his attack, confident that the fact that he had the necessary support to reclaim the throne. At this time, Canute realised that the necessity for more time and manpower and left England to develop an effective resistance before returning once more. So this is like a cat and mouse thing going on. In the meantime, Athelred launched his assault on and ravaged Daneland, in the process dealing a huge blow to the Kingdom of Lindsey for supporting the Vikings. Meanwhile, back in Denmark, Canute was making his preparations to invade. In the summer of 1015, he made his comeback. With renewed strength, bolstered by forces of almost 10,000 men, many of them mercenaries, Canute returned to England and successfully conquered the country. After 14 months of warfare, and despite strong resistance from Edmund Ironside, Athelred's son, Canute's victory was sealed. So it took him about 14 months. What's really interesting is it took him 14 months, but whenever William the Conqueror came over, he won one battle and announced himself king, and everybody just went along with it. And that is something that I find quite fucking strange. Why another king wasn't elected by the Anglo-Saxons and why they did not continue to fight had a lot to do with the Pope deciding to recognise William, who came here under a papal war banner, and the Pope had said that he would not endorse any other king. So that's a lot of how that happened. 23rd of April 1016. Athelred passed away, leaving Edmund Ironside king. However, Canute had other ideas and was bolstered by the support from Witten. And here we have some form of a tapestry of the Battle of Sendam. Such power struggles were soon to be resolved in a series of military engagements, culminating in the Battle of Assendam, where Edmund was defeated, and a treaty subsequently negotiated. As part of the peace agreement, the country would be partitioned, with Edmund retaining control of Wessex, whilst Canute had the rest of England. Such a proposal would be upheld until the death of one of the parties, at which time the survivor would receive control of all the lands. So basically what they have done is they have went, one second. So basically what they have done is they have said, we're going to stop killing each other, and whichever one lives the longest will get all of the spoils, and we can live in peace and try to protect our joint little bits of the country. Sorry, people, my nose was a little bit blocked there, and that's giving me throat issues and everything. So it's no fun. No fun at all. Yeah, it was right by the Church of Satan, or the Church of Rome. Take your pick. They're pretty close to each other. Right. Right. It soon materialized. Canute did not have long to wait as Edmund died on the 30th of November 1016, leaving Canute as ruler of all of England. That wasn't a very long game to play. By the end of the year, he became King Canute, and the coronation proceeded at Christmas. Canute, now with the English crown in his possession, embarked on marriage, which would consolidate power even further by marrying Emma of Normandy, Athelred's widow. So, for anybody that wants to go back to the times of chivalry, that's when you sell off your daughter in marriage to increase your lands. So it's probably not that good a deal for women that it is made out to be. Not that good a deal for men either, because they have to marry that daughter to increase their power, whether they like her or not. As with all of these arranged marriages, forced marriages, everything, there are two people that have got the point of a sword behind them, or nowadays a shotgun. So we need to consider that as well. In 1017, he married Emma and quickly went on to have two children, Hathcote and a daughter called Gunolda. In the process, and to further enrich his sovereignty, he also had Edwig Athelred's son killed, thereby eliminating further threats to the crown. So while he's busy copulating, he's also getting rid of anyone else that could be a threat to the line. Meanwhile, Hathcote would be chosen as his heir apparent, despite Canute having older sons from previous relationships that were entitled to inherit. Moreover, Emma's sons by Athelred Athelstan, and Edward the Confessor would be forced into exile, as were Edmund Ironside's sons. So she had sons that would have been in line to take over the crown, and they got told to fuck off. Great. With potential claimants to the throne temporarily dealt with, Canute went about maintaining his military infrastructure, which included keeping 40 ships and their crew to support the English defences, whilst also extracting a huge amount of gold from England in order to pay off his army, who returned to Denmark. Now, as King of England, it was important for Canute as a Viking king to create stability and a unifying presence in the view of much potential division. Thus, he held meetings in Oxford, where it was agreed that the king and that the English and the Danish would live together in peace under the governing laws of King Elder. So there was a deal done. This is the beginning of our culture of toleration, where we decided to live with one another and be against outsiders. Canute, having only recently consolidated his power in England, very quickly turned his attention back to Denmark, where in 1018 King Harold III passed away, leaving Canute to claim the Danish throne for himself. For those of you that haven't already figured it out, the crowns of all these European countries were like a game of musical chairs, and every time one went up for grabs, there was a bit of a fight on to get it, and if you got it, you get to be the person that runs that place. However, when other people want that chair that you've got, they do have a tendency to murder you. So it's not all good. With much power comes much responsibility and the possibility of being murdered for it. In order to entrench his kinship further, he made Hathcote Crown Prince of Denmark, whilst Ulf Jark acted as regent. So he's doing a lot of statesmanship here. By 1028, his control had expanded even further and now become King of Norway too, thus presiding over the extensive North Sea Empire. As part of the kingship, he also promoted Christianity throughout the kingdoms, following his own conversion to the faith. He was the first Viking leader to be acknowledged by the Pope as a Christian king, and in 1027 embarked on a pilgrimage to Rome, demonstrating his faith and piety. On his return from Rome after witnessing the coronation of the Holy Roman Emperor, Canute referred to himself as King of all England and Denmark and the Norwegians and some of the Swedes. It's a bit of a fucking mouthful. And so, imagine referring yourself the King of some of the Swedes. You just leave that off and only talk about the ones that you ruled all of, but sure. Such was his power and governance under much of the Northwest Europe that Canute brought the level of unity and stability between the kingdoms. Yeah, so what he's doing, he's stopping the fighting and the raiding and everything that's going on between these countries because they're all his people, and say, here, knock all that in the head. Stop running over there and stealing wives. In terms of administration, Canute chose Wessex as the seat of government, whilst the area of East Anglia was ruled by a deputy. Another important figure in the balance of power was the devious character of Edric Sedona, who had plundered much of the country and fought decisive battles on behalf of Canute. His loyalty to the cause was at the time acknowledged by Canute, who awarded him a title of Earl of Mercia. Such a reward, however, was not viewed as sufficiently substantial by Edric, and soon he was embroiled in conflict with Canute. So he says, I've did all this shit for you, and you've only given me this wee small place, and I want something bigger, and I'm going to fight you to get it. Eldrick claimed to have served much more significant part in Canute's victory, as his decision to betray Edmund Ironside had in fact secured Canute's victory. He said, here, I swapped sides to be with you. I did somebody dirty. That needs to be paid for. In response to Eldric's claims, Canute acknowledged that his betrayal of Edmund could very well be replicated with him, and thus this is very true. Although those Vikings invading, that got a bit choppy uppy. The Vikings were not friends when they arrived. Yep. Canute acknowledges the betrayal of Edmund could very well be replicated with him, and thus his protestations to the king left Canute with no choice but to have him killed. Yeah. As for too much, and they go, yeah, fuck it, I'll just kill you instead. That's easier. His body was thrown into the Thames and his head placed on a spike on London Bridge. Oh, yeah. That's how you stop people dissenting. Chop someone's head off, stick it on the bridge, let everybody see it, and think, fuck, I think I'll keep my mouth shut. Whilst Canute dealt with these threats to his kingship in England with a forceful nature, exiling or in some cases killing rivals, in time Canute established a more stable form of governance which allowed the Saxons and Viking communities to coexist in both the social and political domain. For this reason, as King of England, he was thought of in a positive light, an image which was assisted by his closer ties to the church. In other words, he's got the Vatican PR machine behind him. The introduction of the laws of King Edgar and his policies designed to strengthen the currency. These measures, combined with the inclusion of Saxons and Vikings within his royal court, would strengthen his popularity, thereby secure his kingship. During his reign as King of England, as well as Denmark and Norway, Canute had succeeded in the mission which his father had endeavoured to achieve, to rule over a vast North Sea empire united in his governance. When he passed away on the 12th of November 1035, Canute left behind a significant responsibility to his son, Havelkunt, not only to rule over Scandinavia, but to maintain control of England too. Only time would tell whether any of his offspring could follow in his footsteps. People, what I'm going to say is this version of the history did me gave me a far better understanding of what was going on than the Encyclopedia Britannica, uh, which is actually quite sad in a way, because the Encyclopedia Britannica is uh, the place of record that we're directed to find out about all of these things. But there you go. So there is the story of King Canute. And with that, I'm going to have another 10% of the world population. We've been outnumbered before, lads. Fucking right, we have. We're always outnumbered, mate. Hello there. Can you not see my usual account? I will check through the chat. K special on acid. To be fair, while I was reading there, I don't see the chat. So no, mate. I think YouTube is spaz bombing me. Special K, I will check after the stream. I honestly do not believe you're blocked on this channel, but I will do a double check and see in case something's fucking happened by mistake. But I know for a fact that I did not ban you. I haven't banned anybody from the channel for quite a while. And there we go. And Lufer Sheffield, yeah, the Merriam-Webster dictionary is not to be trusted. No, it is not. We have changed the definitions of fucking everything. When I missed your comment about him being blocked, I just seen no. Yes, Special K and Acid, I can see you. Things are working. Yeah. Look, YouTube is up to all sorts of fucking weird and wonderful things at the minute. My views have went way down, but to be totally honest with you, as much as I like people to see my stuff, it's not the be all and end all. I don't think about it too much. However, the thing that I have noticed is not only are my views down, my impressions are down. Like, generally speaking, whenever you go in and check how many impressions you've had, that's how many times YouTube has put the thumbnail in front of people for to decide to click on it or not, along with fucking 30 other ones. But generally speaking, that's in the thousands, and it is now in the hundreds. So something has changed with the way they distribute their content out. I know that Dave's had things whereby his chat is different than it used to be. There's yeah. I honestly don't think that it's a political left-right thing, but this is where it's really weird, because there are channels I watch that are very not political, like the Lore Lodge and Kyle Hates Hiking. That's basically about missing people and the search for them, all sorts of stuff like that. And they're both saying that they're having issues and things have changed. So I think it's just a general. And I honestly think that the probability is that with the advent of AI, people are making 10 times more videos than they used to. and that is clogging up the whole feed, and they don't know how to figure that out. I'm not going to block either used to. Yes, he is. Dave is a duck racing maniac. Right, and with that, we're going to have a musical interlude. And what are we going to have? Oh, one momento. I make a decision on this. Yeah, we're going to have this one. Oh, yeah, advertisements. Right, here we go. Musical interlude coming up. Cromwell, Protector of the Realm. Nice little song about Ulster or Cromwell in Ireland, dealing with the 1641 massacre of the Protestants.
cold winter's morn in 1641, my lovely Anne was taken by O'Conn, taken on the file at the point of rebel gun, and drowned in the murky river Bann. Hundreds more were taken at this date, butchered and drowned or buried in the sand. O'Neill's false promises ensured the same fate. I cursed his famous army to a man. Then one day horizon I did see 100 of our ships all coming to my land. And off each dead protector of the realm, and he smiled and placed the sword into my hand. Off we marched to Drogheda, to Aston's guarded town. Together we stormed it with Cromwell at the helm. He screamed, "You butchers, remember poor to die, and Cromwell, protector of the realm." And now I go with flowers to see my lovely Anne. I go and tell her that her death was not in vain. I tell my children about the Lord Protector and how he saved our people from the same. Written in his hand some brilliant kings and queens, Elizabeth the First, an outfit comes to mind. But the Lord Protector emulates them all, Oliver the top one you will find. Cromwell, Cromwell, the greatest British king, strong in his beliefs, he never let us down. He fought for his people and he rid us of O'Neill, as we took our due revenge for Portadown. Cromwell, Cromwell, the greatest British king, strong in his beliefs, he never let us down. He fought for his people and he rid us of O'Neill, as we took our due revenge for Portadown.
There we go. That was Cromwell, Protector of the Realm. Oh, no, well, the Celtic Irish don't like Cromwell. It turns out that, yeah, the reason why they don't like Cromwell is they spent fucking 10 years murdering, starving Protestants, and Cromwell come over and stopped that and gave a little bit of retribution. You can find all the evidence for it in the 1641 depositions that are online at University College Dublin. And yeah, they don't like him, but many people, Cromwell's a man. Cromwell is indeed the man. And now with that, we're going to talk a little bit about St. Andrew. And we're going to start off with the Encyclopedia Britannica, and we will see what it tells us about St. Andrew and see, do we have a bit of a and see how this goes. In the symphonic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Peter and Andrew, whose Greek name means mainly, were called from their fishing by Jesus to follow him, promising that he would make them fishers of men. With Saints Peter, James, and John, Andrew asked Jesus on the Mount of Olives for signs of the earth's end, which inspired ecclesiastical discourse in Mark 13. In the Gospel according to John, Andrew is the first apostle named, and he was a disciple of St. John the Baptist before Jesus' call. So, what they're telling us is Andrew lived in biblical times along with Jesus, and he was a disciple of John the Baptist. So that's who Andrew is. Now, early Byzantine tradition, dependent on John 140, calls Andrew Portus, first called. Early church legends recount his missionary activity in the area about the Black Sea, and apocalyptical writings centered on him include the Acts of Andrew and Matthias, and Acts of Peter and Andrew. A 4th century account reports his death by crucifixion, and late medieval accreditations describe the cross as X-shaped. He is iconographically represented with an X-shaped cross like that depicted on the Scottish flag, the Psalter, and here you see Andrew with the cross. St. Jerome records that Andrew's relics were taken from Patras, modern Patra, to Constantinople, modern Istanbul, by command of the Roman Emperor Constantius II in 357. From there, the body was taken to Amath in Italy, the Church of St. Andrea, and in 1208 and the 15th century, the head was taken to Rome, St. Peter's Basilica, Vatican City. In September 1964, Pope Paul the Sixth returned Andrew's head to Patria as a gesture of goodwill towards the separated Christians in Greece. Many Catholics participate in an Advent devotion known as St. Andrew Novena, or the St. Andrew Christmas Novena, in which a specific prayer is recited 15 times a day from his feast day until November 30th, until Christmas. Praying to this, I can't say I'm a fan, and I can't say that there's anything in the Word of God that says that anything can be benefited by praying to a dead person that's not God 15 times a day on a regular basis. That all seems a bit much for me, but that is what happens whenever you look up St. Andrew in the Encyclopedia Britannica. One might have expected something in there about Scotland. Given that this is Britannica and St. Andrew is a patron saint of Scotland. So, we're going to take this away. I'm going to look at the chat. yeah, anybody's having issues with their name on YouTube, you can go into YouTube Studio. I can't remember the exact thing, but there was. I'll tell you what I can do. I'll do this very quickly. Fuck, that should be in my history. Right, remind me later. I'll throw it up. Oh, I'll tell you why. Because they changed how your handle works in the chat whenever they were changing everything else, mate. It's a fucking nightmare. Nah. Right, I'm going to look this up. I will assist with this problem. Change your name on. Change your name on YouTube. Here we go. Right, anybody having name issues? Here's a link. There you go. If you follow that link, that'll tell you how to change your name, get rid of the numbers at the end of it. Or what you do is you go in and do the name change, delete off the numbers, and whenever it goes red, that will that'll work. Okay. Yep. You're very welcome, and yes, YouTube are indeed cunts. Although I would say a cunt's a very useful thing. So now that we've seen that Britannica doesn't really want to tell us anything about St Andrew as a patron saint of Scotland, we will have a look at what the clans page is saying. This website is Scottish Clans, and I will share that up, and we will get a look at this and see, does this give us any more actual information about him from the Scottish and insult to the cunts, yeah. Shadow ban general. Oh, yes. Right, here we go. St Andrew. This is from Scottish Clans, and I'm going to see what size this looks like on the screen, and that is going to get a little bit of a zoom in. On the 30th of November, St Andrew's Day is celebrated across Scotland and indeed around the world. So how did this most eligible of all saints come to be Scotland's patron saint? St Andrew is one of the original Christian apostles, and he was the older brother of St Peter. His name Andes is thought to come from the Greek whatever, or Andreas, and was common among Jews living around Galilee at the time. Although not much is known about Andrew, the Bible stories tell us he was a fisherman and originally a disciple of John the Baptist. He joined Jesus at the same time as John the Evangelist, who he shared a house at Chapperbourne. On becoming a follower of Christ, he introduced his brother to him, and both became his disciples. He was the disciple that pointed out at the boy with the loaves. He was the disciple that pointed out the boy with the loaves and the fishes to Christ. So this is the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000 with a couple of loaves of bread and a few fish, and passing out of the basket, and there was even stuff left over. Now, here's the first revelation and thing that I want to point out here. It's very clear that this Scottish St Andrew is this St Andrew who was a follower of Christ. I keep seeing posts on Facebook about English patriots and about St. George and St. George not being from England and all of this bullshit. But see, whenever St. Andrew's Day come along, I never, ever, ever see anything saying he's not even Scottish, but he is as Scottish as St. George is English. So I think people are making mischief in the extreme. So there you go. I'm refusing to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and the importance of a patron saint being of the nationality that the country actually is. It's not about that. You're not supposed to be picking one of your own. You're supposed to be picking a set of characteristics that you think represents the mentality of your people. So there's that. Andrew became one of Jesus' closest followers, and after his crucifixion, went on to preach across Asia Minor and along the Black Sea coast and up into Russia as far as Kiev. Let that sink in. Along the Black Sea coast up into Russia as far as Kiev. Yeah. That was Russia then. Funny how times change. This is why Andrew is also patron saint of Romania and Russia. He founded the See of Byzantium in AD 38, later developing into the Passionate of Constantinople. There are very few incidents recorded about his time preaching and no recorded miracles. Andrew would have appeared to have lived a simple life. A legend from the 4th century says he was eventually crucified at Patras by Archelaus by the Black Sea. It is said he declared himself unworthy to be crucified in the same manner as Christ, so asked instead to be crucified on a cross called a crux discoria, an X-shaped cross. This shape has become known as St. Andrew's cross. St. Andrew was tied to the cross. Kneeling was generally not used in crucifixions and remained there for several days, preaching to those who came to see him. After his death, the relics were moved to Constantinople by order of the Roman Emperor in 357. From the Crusades, stole Andrew's alleged from their Crusaders stole Andrew's alleged body in 1210 and took them to Amifa in Italy. His head and some other parts were removed and taken to Rome in the 15th century, where they were enshrined in St. Peter's Basilica. And this is where we're getting into the Roman Catholic traditions of worshipping relics and bones of dead people. And this involved, in many, many cases, chopping the dead martyr to bits and bringing parts of them. Should it be a head? Should it be a hand? Should it be feet? Should it be a couple of leg bones? Whatever. And taking them to a certain monastery or chapel where people could pay money to pray over the bones. It's a fucking money-making scam. Really, honestly. And I really don't think that chopping these people that you're calling saints, I don't think it's really good to be chopping them up and sending bits of them to different parts of the world. Has that soul meant to rest? As is the unfortunate lot of saints, the relics, bones in other words, tend to be moved around and traded between churches like currency. Yes, they fucking do. Some of the relics from Rome were returned to Paris, Asia, Patras, in a gesture towards the Greek Orthodox Church. And there's another picture of Andrew with the cross. The cross. There are several opinions on how some of the relics made their way to Scotland. The romantic tradition is that they were brought here by St. Rule, religious, an Irish monk who had been expelled from Ireland along with St. Columba. St. Columba is the saint who had a little talk with the Loch Ness Monster. That is his claim to fame. He had a fucking chat with the Loch Ness Monster. So says the Church of Rome. Great. The story going that he landed with the relics in Fife, Scotland, and the place where he landed took the name St. Andrews. Yeah. There's another theory, though, that the relics came into the hands of Abaca, Bishop of Hexham, in the 700s, and took them north when he fled Hexham in 732 AD. Sometime around the middle of the 10th century, St. Andrew became Scotland's patron saint. Just let this sink in. Sometimes around the middle of the 10th century, St. Andrew became Scotland's patron saint. This is how well we are protecting our history. We don't even know when this decision was fucking made. St. Columba had been venerated before then, but it was decided that St. Peter outranked him and that Peter's older brother would trump the lot. The declaration in our Arbroath of 320 cites Scotland's conversion to Christianity by St. Andrew to be the first apostle. The first to be an apostle. I do need to look into this declaration of Arbroath. I don't know enough about that. Andrew is now the patron saint of Scotland, Russia, Romania, Amalfi, and Liquida, Malta. Yeah, Liquida is a part of Malta. And something is really strange going on there because the rest of Malta has the patron saint of St. George, the same as England. And I think these people on Liquida just really took a little bit of racism against the English and decided they would have the fucking the Scottish patron saint. So yes, this petty fucking left-wing bullshit has been going on for an incredibly long amount of time. He was also made the patron saint of Prussia. The Saltire, a representation of the cross of the saint, is not only present in the Scottish yeah, he does have a good golf course as well. Right, where was it? Sorry. The Saltire. Yeah, I have unmuted myself again. Sorry. The Saltire, a representation of the cross of the saint, is not only present in the Scottish and subsequently the Union flag, but also the flag of Tenerife, the naval jack of Russia. The Confederate flag also features the Saltire, commonly referred to as St. Andrew's Cross, although its designer, William Poacher Mills, said he changed it from an upright cross to the Saltire so that it would not be a religious symbol, but merely a heraldic device, and that means something that has to do with the heraldry, the crest of a place. St. Andrew is generally pictured as an old man, generally with a book in transverse or a saltire cross. Sometimes the image may contain fish, a fishing net or rope, Andrew sitting on a boat. So there you go. The Scottish clans did actually do a better job on St. Andrew than Britannica. No surprise. And with that, we are going to have another little bit of a musical interlude while I figure out what we're going to do next. And I think we will have the Ballad of Ballard. Quite interestingly, a I seen a video the other day about the true story of the Sound of Film, the Sound of Freedom, the film this is based on, and it turns out that it is pretty much true. And this guy did go rescue lots of children. All very good, although it's not exactly fucking totally accurate because it's a film and it needs to be there needs to be some changes. 1 second. St. Christopher 251. My surname is Evans, Wales. My partner is Feeney, Northern Ireland. My grandchildren are Feeney Evans. We are Gaelic, Anglo-Saxon, a total with a hint of French and German, and a lot of English. Blood tests. Very interesting. I'd be curious as to what form of Gaelic and where you're getting your Gaelic from, and would you be any relation to the Warren Feeney that scored all the goals in Irish League football? But thanks for dropping in. Welcome aboard. Right, here we go. This is the Ballad of Ballard.
This is the ballad from Miss Ballard.
Gets darker. The deeper you go down.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the wicked through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And the finder of lost children.
You only need a light to guide you, and an angel to walk beside you.
A day you go down.
You wanna know the truth, don't you?
I find the evil and the greedy under every turn of rock, where I spit out the truth, the establishment mock. From all sides, I watch the opposition grow, trying to terminate the information flow. But the good book reminds me that I am blessed, protected and guided during every quest. In the valley of darkness, my way is clear. I carry a big stick and I show no fear. So prepare yourself for eternal damnation. In your nest of vipers I found my vocation. Are we so deaf that we cannot hear the screams of the children? Are we so blind that we cannot see? We are living in the depths of depravity. Are we so inept we let monsters roam, fueled on power and adrenochrome? Are we so weak we cannot fight back, beholden to our masters? The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But blessed is he who in the name of charity or goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And the finder of lost children. Sick minds. Sick minds. Violent. Innocence.
Stuck them up with walnuts. As long as you ain't got
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. But blessed is he who in the name of charity or goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. The finder of lost children. The rabbit hole. I dare you to go down. Okay, everybody. That was the Ballad of Ballard. Now we're going to talk a little bit about International Men's Day. It being November and all that. But what I want to get across here is why these days are actually important and what they are and what they mean and what they do. I know that a lot of people see these things and go, that's a lefty idea, having days for this. It's the same with International Day of Trans Visibility and fucking World Day for this and World Day for that and all of that. However, there is actually a point to all of this. Below, because it gives you an opportunity to attempt to lobby and get change for the things that you want to happen. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about International Men's Day. I'm going to talk about the history of it, where it came through, where it came from, and where it went. Before I start this, I will say that this year, on November the 19th, our government, the British government, introduced a policy to improve men's health. Now, the policy itself is fucking shite. But at least we now have the framework within which we need to work. And it has been a long time getting to that point. And now we get to lobby for a better policy. And I'm going to begin by telling you how this started and where we've got to. I'm going to end with the story of how we, in my humble opinion, how we got to the point where we got this new policy that's actually supposedly designed to help men. And this is coming from A Voice for Men. If you want to know anything about men's rights, go to A Voice for Men. They are the authority on this. How Thomas Auster started International Men's Day and how feminists tried to stop him. Let's check and see how large this is on the screen. I think I will give that a little zoom in. This article about one gutsy men's rights advocate started International Men's Day despite attempts to shut him down. His name was Thomas Auster. Thomas Auster was an articulate and passionate men's rights advocate. He was prolific in his work with men's groups, men's issues, and political advocacy, both on and off campuses where he taught. He had many fine MRAs around him, men and women who helped to improve the lot of males. But what about the man himself? Who was he really? And what is the unknown story of how he inaugurated the world's first International Men's Day? The following will be about Thomas Auster and how he put International Men's Day on the map for those who choose to celebrate the event in the distant future. In the early 1990s, so 1990s, 2000, 2010, 2020, 30 odd years. Keep that in mind. In the early 1990s, Auster's growing interest in advocating for men and gynocentric resistance to that advocacy led him to the idea of creating a globally celebrated International Men's Day. His goal was to create a platform where the stories of men could be told in their own words rather than being interpreted by others. In a moment of nostalgia about his dream, he mused, "You don't get points in men's groups for flexing your ego, but I'd like it to be known that Kansas City has become the hometown of International Men's Day because a hometown boy got that thing rolling." As you'll read in my films, Thomas Auster and Kansas City can indeed now take credit for being the epicenter of a global movement. So this was somebody in one city that decided they wanted to do this, and we'll see where it's went to. The first IMD event took place in 1992 when a small group of men's rights activists, advocates scattered through 4 continents simultaneously celebrated without her in the first celebration. Today, thanks to his vision, there are millions of people in more than 60 countries celebrating International Men's Day. This achievement is remarkable when we consider it took place 30 years ago at a time when advocacy for men and boys was considered unthinkable. In much the same way that advocacy for the betterment of the English people, the Scottish people, the Welsh people, and the Northern Irish people, the British people, is currently unthinkable. We're in the same place. Thomas Auster was director of the Missouri Center for Men's Studies and employed as associate professor at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, where he taught classes on men's issues. 1 second, I need some liquid. That's right, classes on real men's issues. He told us how he first became attracted to the men's movement by intellectual interest, but quickly came to feel persecuted for his association with the politically incorrect subject. "I got beat up and slammed," reports Auster. "People said, 'Why do you hate women?' The more I got beat up, the more I got drawn into it. My Canutic background took over." Yeah, so he's saying that every time he tried to advocate for men, he got, "Why do you hate women?" In the same way that every time you try to advocate for British people, you get, "Why do you hate foreigners?" During February 1991, Auster wondered if global recognition for men and their issues might be framed as a men's strike day, a kind of protest against misandry, which could be observed under the moniker of a men's day off. He later softened his approach and reframing the proposed event as an educational exchange on men's issues. Thus was born the idea of International Men's Day. The first IMD of International Men's Day event was organised and launched by Auster on February 7, 1992, for the purpose of what he said was drawing positive attention on the importance of men's issues. The event was successful in both 1992 and again 1993 and 1994. People on 4 continents celebrated, and guests from various events came along to hear speakers talk on topics ranging from the silent tragedy of men's health to men bashing and to share talk, wine, and dine. Karen, Karen Strong is very good. Look, the Malice 4 is it's a myth. There's a whole bunch of people that talk about men's issues from all different perspectives, and very few of them are actually advocating for the rights of men. Yeah, Christianity is being banned in schools. It's really not good. Yeah. Well, Stephen Molyneux, well, he appeared at the first international conference on men's issues, but he's not a men's rights advocate per se. But he does do a lot of stuff that touches on them. He has a good, he's a sound lad. Janet Davison, she still does some very good work. If you want somebody to get involved in your to help you out with a legal case or whatnot, Janet Davison's probably the go-to, particularly if you're in America. It was a miraculous occasion. For the first time in history, people gathered at the same time in 4 continents to actually speak of such things. On that day, February 7, men and women rejoiced in the company of like-minded souls as they shared intimate stories that ears had never heard before. Oster spoke at his hometown Kansas event, reminding attendees that the discussion of men's health and well-being deserved to be heard throughout the cacophony of misandry. We want the bashing to stop. It's not a request, it's a statement. We want it to stop. To give you an example, a woman walked through here and saw the material and said, "You've got to be kidding me. You're seriously not going to have a men's day, are you?" Interestingly, David Bowie formed the Society for the Protection of Men with Long Hair because he was getting a lot of shit about that. So, yeah. Oster hoped that the day could become a means of education and consciousness raising where the positive cultural accomplishments of men could be celebrated. Men might be faced with a better variety of choices about how they wanted to live their lives. Women and men should both have options, wrote Oster, and International Men's Day is an opportunity to draw attention to these issues. Yes, men and women should have options, but those options are not going to be the same. We get equality by giving people equal opportunity to do things, but the way they're going to be able to do them are going to be different. It's just the way it is. Oster proposed 6 core objectives for a Men's Day. They were to celebrate men's positive traits and contributions, improve gender relations, focus attention on men's health and well-being, remove misandry, and increase life options for men and boys to develop a humanitarian-style approach to all men's issues. These 6 objectives were foundations that would later be reaffirmed and ratified by a new generation of International Men's Day celebrants, but not before a group of anti-Oster university women had played their final hand. After the popular success of the first International Men's Day event in 1992, feminists at his campus became increasingly vindictive. During his planned planning for the 1994 and 1995 International Men's Day events, a bomb was suddenly dropped by at least six former and current female graduate students who collectively complained that Utter had sexually harassed them and was hostile in the classroom. The two most serious allegations put forward by the troop were that Thomas Oster had touched the forearm of one student with what she perceived as a brief stroking motion. He touched a woman's arm, and that he advised another student to dye her hair blonde in response to her question about what she could do to improve her poor grade. Oh, fuck. Yeah. To drive a nail deeper, another student had said he had referred to her as Blondie at least twice. Fuck me. A real villain. The curators of the university entertained these shallow and dubious allegations and were quick to respond by imposing restrictions on Otter's movement and work. Despite these distractions, the next two International Men's Day events went extremely well, with several hundred individuals in attendance. However, the fourth year of International Men's Day heralded a change in the weather when his antagonists decided to double down on their efforts to shut him down. In 1995, Otter had planned to orchestrate his fourth and biggest International Men's Day event when he increasingly became the target of workplace bullying. He decided to sue the curators of the university for infringement of his civil rights as a tenured professor, claiming that he was being denied freedom of speech, salary increases, graduate teaching assistants, and the use of university facilities. Naturally, the court proceedings took up much of his time and energy and taxed his ability to effectively organise and advertise the upcoming International Men's Day event. So this is how things go. Due to these circumstances, the next International Men's Day event was a flop, with few people turning up. After this failure and feeling drained by the complex court case, Otter decided to defer future International Men's Day plans and take a well-deserved rest. So this is one guy. He has moved this compass this far and went, fuck, that's as far as I can go. I need to take a break for a bit. With precision, Thomas Otter had been persecuted for his role in the men's rights movement. Late in 1995, Otter won his court case against UMKC, and the university was forced to pay him $74,000 plus $15,000 in legal fees. That's a $74,000 win. After sometimes you have the $74,000 question, that's a $74,000 win. After settlement, Oyster resigned from his job and felt he would no longer have the respect of his students, and he shelved plans to continue celebrating International Men's Day. General interest in the event waned until 1999, when Dr. Jerome Tanaki, a history professor in the University of West Indies, revived the event and shifted the date to November 19th, the date of his father's birthday. So what's happened is person one has come in, introduced it, pushed it this far. Person two is now coming behind them and taking up the baton. Jerome Tanaki continued Oyster's emphasis on highlighting positive aspects and accomplishments of men. In 2009 interview, Tanaki also gave a lot of work to Otter when he stated, "I could be considered the founder of this version of IMD on 19th of November, but we need to also acknowledge the pioneering efforts of persons and groups before 1999. They are the ones to be honoured." So he's saying, although I'm doing this, you need to remember what came before me. If I can see further than others, it's because I stand on the shoulder of giants. That's the fact about this. In 2009, International Men's Day Committee was formed with Jerome Tanaki as chairman. The group came together to increase awareness about the event and to foster growth into more nations. Taking note of the foundations of International Men's Day objectives introduced by both Oster and Tanaki, a committee encapsulated the objectives of International Men's Day in 6 guiding principles that would serve to protect the core values of the day and offer a reliable reference point to future International Men's Day celebrations. Yeah, so this is why it's important to have your founding documents in place. This is what we're about and this is what we do, so that everybody can go back to it if they ever need to be grounded. And that is to promote positive male role models, not just movie stars, sportsmen, but everyday working class men who are living decent, honest lives. To celebrate men's positive contributions to society, community, family, marriage, childcare, and to the environment, because quite honestly, you take men out of all those things, they stop fucking working. To focus on men's health and well-being, social, emotional, and physical and spiritual. To highlight discrimination against males in areas of social service, attitudes, and the law. There's a lot of discrimination in the law against men. It's just baked into the system. To improve gender relations, promote gender equality, and to create a safer, better world where people can live free from harm and grow to reach their full potential. It is my belief that, in spirit of Otter's original version, that A Voice for Men have much in common. Both movements aim to create inclusive international voice for men as free as possible from sectarian distractions. However, both International Men's Day and A Voice for Men reject the notion of a unified men's movement, encourage instead diversity of men's voices and a variety of humanitarian offers. And this is what A Voice for Men are saying. They're saying that we do not want this all to be totally one thing. We need lots of different things. People pushing their own agenda and their own way of doing things. More voices reaching out for better treatment of men. Thomas Otter said, "There is no such thing as a unified men's movement." As I touched on this about the manosphere, the phenomena involved comprise a variety of sub-movements, even after analogies and other issues concerning which there are far left, far right, and middle of the road orientations. Yet there's another more fundamental point which can be made about the value of respect for all men and human beings. A day of respect should go beyond the current social activities referred to as the men's movement. This is true because the men's movement itself goes beyond the men's movement. The men's movement, more fundamentally, is a turning of human psyche and the articulation of this turning point of the voice. 1 second, I just want to check something. A couple of things. Right. I'm 52. Men now say, fuck you. Right. I'm going to drop off reading the story because I think we've got what we need out of it. This started in 1990s. It took quite a long while, and now this is where I'm going to go rogue. I'm going off the grid, and I'm just going to speak. St. Christopher, we've stopped talking about that. If you're here to spam, you're going to end up going. Because we're all talking about something that's totally fucking different. Nah. So, even in no-fault divorces, we're going to give them more. Yeah, this is true. But what I want to talk to you about now is this thing started in the early 1990s. And in 2025, we got the British government introducing their first ever policy on men's health. And I want to point out a couple of the things that went along the way to get that. Not least because it's okay, don't worry. We're all cool now. Right. How did this policy come to be? So In 2014, me, got Belfast City Council to host an International Men's Day event, which was the first government participated International Men's Day event in the world. As part of that, as part of organising that in conjunction with Belfast City Council, I was just smacking down a little order. Right. As part of that, I got to do a presentation which went to the First Minister of Northern Ireland, who was Gavin Robinson at the time, who was the head of the DUP. I had an hour-long meeting with him, and then I left him with a presentation about all of the men's issues. He read that and decided that it should go to all of the DUP representatives in their system, so they had the background information. In 2015, Philip Davies, the Member of Parliament for Dibley, South Yorkshire, I think it is, wanted to have a debate in the House of Commons for International Men's Day about men's issues. In order to do that, he needed cross-party support. People were not from his party to even get the thought of this debate off the ground. Fortunately for him, whenever he approached the Democratic Unionist Party members of Parliament, they went, "Oh, yes, we know all about International Men's Day. We know about these issues." They had a good conversation with him. They signed, and they managed to get the first debate for International Men's Day in the House of Parliament. As part of that debate, there was a Conservative Member of Parliament, I can't remember whose name it was, brought forward the fact that there are medical treatments that prevent cancers that are routinely given to 15-year-old girls in this country that were not at that time given to 15-year-old boys. And one of the things that came out of that was that change was made, and now all boys get the vaccination, and it is an actual proper genuine vaccination, and it prevents them getting throat cancer via oral sex. It's also the same injection that stops women getting cervical cancer, right? And all they did was add that on to them. But since then, every year, they have been having these debates, and it has now got to the point where after 10 years of debates, they had to do something for men, and they have brought out this new policy. And now we get a go at lobbying to get the policy made better. So the point I'm trying to make is that getting any political change is like pushing a fucking pea uphill with your nose. It's a long and complicated, drawn out process. It requires people working on it day in, day out for a very long period of time, but it is possible. And the other thing that I would say is that England Day, what you lack, the point of the point of these days, like International Men's Day and whatnot, is so you can run events that you can drag your politicians to, and then your politicians get linked to your community, and they find out what needs actually changed. The other thing that you can do at these events is you can rope in your service providers. That's the exact same thing. That's it. That's a meeting where J.S. Phillips J.S. Phillips laughed at the idea of an International Men's Day event, but it did, or an International Men's Day debate, and it did actually happen. and your boy 42 played a very, 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 very small part in getting that to happen through coincidence more than anything else. And just the fact of other people pushing things as far as they could, and it has a knock-on effect. So that's how these days run. You get the service providers together, you get the people work together before, and you concentrate them on it, and you provide and you create a lobbying force. Now, you can't do that if you don't have the events, which is why I think England Day is important. And I will also say that I don't expect England Day to have any tangible results for about 10 fucking years if we work at it really hard. Donna just jealous that I won the duck race last night. Yeah, Donna is jealous. Man them days every time Chris plays it at the end of the stream. So what I want you to think about is how far we can push England Day, and can it go the same way where we eventually get do you know what? You could eventually end up forcing the English government to have a debate on better treatment for English people in England. Fuck, she's got more than daddy issues. She's a fucking loop tip. And with that, I'm going to do the outro, which shall indeed be England Day. See, I've made it all flow together. And I will put your comments up on the screen. And here we go. If I can find it. Yep, there we go. Who are ye, in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are English,
We come from the edge of Europe.
beyond which lies only water,
ice and death.
This is the place we made our home.
Raised our cattle, planted the crops, evoked their gods from circles formed of stone, so those gods could witness us atone.
When Roman forces did invade, we fought as lions, refused to yield, and those we left out in the field, of the English, they were the seed.
Who adversity did propagate, an indomitable people who we would fight, toil and mock in equal measure, and find humour in our adversity, because that is our way. The battle-weary tribes besieged by Vikings,
banded as brothers with Angles, Jutes and Saxons. It took some years of consideration
to produce our culture of toleration. The creation of the English nation at Stamford Bridge we won the day, but William was quickly on his way.
1066, the commutation brought the cursed Norman invasion. A ruling class they would impose until calls for Magna Carta arose. And to all the kings the message was sent: you only rule us by consent.
So what of the English, I hear you ask? You know us as the working class, the ones whose toil, blood and sweat brought you the greatest empire yet. So you should learn at your mother's knee of revolutions that number 3.
That number 3. 1, 2, 3.
Agricultural, where mechanised planting and harvesting was married to selective breeding, we created a food surplus, the envy of the world. Industrial, where we conjured cities to house factories inhabited by a well-paid workforce to man the machines. This coupled to the ingenuity of English engineers who never found a problem without a solution. The third, the glorious one, that brought about civil and religious liberty, one rule for all, and the radical notion that a man should profit from his labours. But we are not greedy. We exploited our language, our law, our sense of fair play. In our safe shipping lanes, trade flows through never-ending day.
And when Britannia ruled the waves,
We used our power to free all slaves. We managed the world and allowed all others to travel in the social order we created with humour in adversity, because that is our way. Achievements we have too many to list. From this small kingdom God has kissed. We travelled the world from the highest mountain to Arctic's Kabatic, tundra and back again. The traces of our kindness are in our railway lines that transport the world to work, our compassion in the water systems that hydrates foreign soil.
We left everywhere better than we found it, because that is our way.
I could list another thing or two, like how we taught the world to queue, but I'll leave that for another occasion. It's time to have a celebration, admire the wonders of our creation. To our ancestors, homage we must pay for doing things the English way. For we are the English, and this is our day.
who are ye? In rags and rotten shoes, old dirty and bearded, blocking up the way.
We are the pilgrims, master. We shall go always that little bit further. It may be beyond that last blue mountain barred with snow, across that angry or glimmering sea. We are the English.
Every Englishman's house is his castle. So hoist your colours on the ramparts for England Day. Then down after St George's Day. We are English, and we'll be patriotic in an organised way.
Who was asked me there? Yep. Any new products with Almac projects? There's at least two cooking about in the background, but I need to figure out how to fucking write them first. I've got the idea, and that's about it. But yes, there are more projects coming. And they will be of the same standard, if not better, because we are learning every time we do this. It's quite a fucking beautiful thing. So, that being said, the other thing is there's more videos coming on the other channel. Forgot the name of it. Actually, yes, Brad. I think, yes. Yeah. I think we're going to have a look at that. That's one that we have, yeah. Definitely, we're going to have a look at that, and thank you very much for reminding me. Do us a favor, send me an email with a link to it again. Oh, we'll figure it out. No Motorhead, unfortunately. Right. That's me checking out. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. I'm out of here. Goodbye.